For as long as I can remember, Valve as a company has always been at the forefront of making amazing video games. Not only do they understand that these games need to be fun and smooth to play, but that they also need a certain layer of flavor that helps them stand out from the plethora of competition that exists in the world. Whether it's the characters from TF2, the world building from Half-Life 2, the humor in Portal 2, and yes, even the hours and hours I've sunk into Dota 2, it all just reminds you that this company is incapable of making a single bad game. That's right, there isn't just one single bad game. What? This isn't in the script. Oh no.
Artifact is a good game. Artifact is a good game.
I honestly think that the atmosphere and setting alone is enough for me to tell you that this is one of the coolest concepts for a video game ever made. And choosing New York City as your battlefield with its towering skyscrapers, industrial warehouses, and out-of-place green parks, it just adds so much charm to the map. I mean, everyone and their mother has taken you to the cookie cutter Summoner's Rift or whatever the hell Dota 2's map was actually called. I'm sorry about that. Even the premise alone as to why you're battling on the streets of New York is so wildly different compared to the most generic fantasy MOBAs that don't even really have a story. A bunch of misfits have all gathered up to summon some type of demon entity, I'm not really sure, to grant their wish. Whether it's Bebop trying to save his sick human mother, or Dynamo wishing to get back his human body, it's just so cool when you think about it, and it adds so much more flavor to the actual game itself. Take a second to admire how they introduce these characters to you. I mean, holy crap. You really couldn't do a better job at delivering lore in a cool, efficient, and non-dumpy manner in a better way than how Deadlock does it. Developers, take note. There's a myriad of amazing characters, from a punk rock goat to a demon detective to a New York City gargoyle that's turned to life, and it's just so perfect. There's no generic archer character. It's a Native American old man with a crazy owl bomb that he can send across the map to take people out. There's no big sword user. There's a Japanese samurai who literally doesn't even speak English.
Apologies, I don't speak Japanese.
I could keep going on, but first, let me tell you what the basics of Deadlock is, for those who might have not played the game. For the uninitiated, Deadlock's a MOBA, which is basically another way of saying that you and a team of other people have to fight a team of equally sized people, and the first team to destroy the other team's main base or objective wins the game. Popular examples of the genre include League of Legends or Dota 2, or if you're crazy, Heroes of the Storm. But what makes Deadlock the absolute king of this genre is how it chooses to separate itself from the pack. Let's start with the easiest and most obvious point. Rather than have you right-click on a map to move a character, you're now fully third person and you're shooting and moving in 3 dimensions. But it doesn't just stop there. You see, you're not just shooting generic guns and moving like your traditional Counter-Strike or Valorant. You can wall jump and bounce around the walls like you're Neo from the Matrix, and forget about your AK-47 and your M16s. How about a demon hand or a gun that fires goo? Or maybe you just prefer shooting fire from your literal fingertips. This is one of the pillars of why Deadlock is the king, not only for shooters, but for MOBAs as well. But I'm not finished. Let's talk about the second reason why you should be playing Deadlock, and that's farming. For those who don't know, I hate farming.
You what?
I think it's an archaic concept that, if it were up to me, would be abolished from most games. I think farming is boring. Anyone's grandmother can right-click creeps for 40 minutes, but you know what's actually entertaining? Intense 2v2 battles right out of the gate, sometimes even before the creeps show up to your lane. I've always been a huge fan of the laning phase in these types of games, and let me tell you that no game does the laning phase, and will probably ever do the laning phase, as good as Deadlock does. It's pure action. And here's the best part, every lane is perfectly balanced. It's always 2-on-2, unlike other games where sometimes you just have one person trying to defend the lane against 3 people, or another lane where you're by yourself with no backup. But I'm still not finished. You see, Deadlock says, well, how can we ramp up the action even further without creating tedious upkeep? Easy. Make nothing cost mana. You have a skill, and if that skill isn't on cooldown, well then you can use it as many times as you want without having to micromanage another bar. And the items have been simplified by being divided into 3 categories and 4 sizes of each item. There's gun items that help you do gun damage, spirit items which help you do magic damage, and tank items which help you, well, tank. And the items are really cool. There's items that do very specific things, like create an anvil over a character's head that works really well for heroes that like to remain airborne. This is a nice change of pace compared to most games where there's always an optimal build that you're going to do 95% of the time. Instead, Deadlock asks you, well, what exactly do you want your items to do? Who are you trying to counter? What opponent is scaring you right now the most? That being said, Deadlock's not an easy game. In fact, I'd argue it's probably the hardest MOBA you can learn at the moment. It's a high knowledge system with an even higher skill ceiling. But lucky for you, the geniuses over at the Deadlock team have come up with a brilliant solution. And that's Street Brawl is by far the smartest thing that the team has done up to this point. It basically removes all the tedium of deciding what items you need or don't need to buy by simply giving you 3 choices of 3 items at the start of each round. And that's it. Then you put some points into your skills and you get immediately thrown into a lane with 3 other people. And 4 really is the perfect number. It's enough people to make it feel like a really intense lane, but not so many that it might feel overwhelming. Once a tower is destroyed, and only when a tower is destroyed, the round ends and the cycle begins again. You pick 3 items, you put more points in your skills, and then you just go again. This is brilliant on so many obvious levels, but even on others that might not be evident. Firstly, the game is teaching you that objectives matter much more than kills, as the round will only end once a tower or a walker is destroyed. It's also helping you get a good feel for how this character will play in real teamfights. And finally, it's letting you test items that you might be too afraid to try out in a real game. Even finally, it's also just pure fun. Even if the game is unfairly matched and you get completely obliterated 3-0, the games are so fast that in another 10 minutes, you'll be right back into a fresh new match. I have nothing bad to say about Street Brawl. It's
Perfection.
This last chapter was a little hard for me to make, as honestly, I love Deadlock so much. But there are a few things that I think might push some people away from Deadlock. Apart from its brutal learning curve, which is something that I've said has already been mostly fixed by Street Brawl, I want to talk about why I think you might not want to play Deadlock. We need to discuss the terrible, and I mean terrible, matchmaking system that the game has at the moment. Now, granted, the game's not even fully out yet, so I'll preface that this might not be even an issue for you if you're watching this video by the time they release the game. But if you want to start playing now, be prepared for hell. A lot of matches will be decided by one person who proceeds to hyperfarm 60,000 souls and then just runs down your team of headless chickens that don't understand how to properly take objectives. And I'm telling you this from an account that's reached mid-Archon. This is not an entry-level rank, or at least not according to the chart. The games where the teams are balanced are some of the best competitive matches I've ever played in any game. But for every one of those, I have to deal with 5 or 6 unfun stomps. Sometimes you might be the one stomping, or sometimes it might be the enemy team stomping you back, but it's just not fun on either side. And that's it. Barring those downsides, I think Deadlock is the perfect competitive multiplayer experience that you can have in 2026. And knowing that Valve is behind the wheel makes me feel so at ease, because I know it'll have a fair payment model, and it definitely won't be riddled with microtransactions and pay-to-win nonsense. Simply put, Deadlock is the gold standard of what a MOBA genre can be. It's a 10 in every single category that you can rank it in. The art, the gameplay, character design, the sound effects. It's a MOBA masterpiece.